Welcome to Plans Are Booked, a podcast for every reader. I'm Molly Geller.
And I'm Caitlin Madison. Welcome to chapter 129. We're nearing the end of summer. I know Molly hates to hear it, but we do roll into your birthday. We roll into your birthday. So.
That's true. September is always a welcomed arrival.
I have been saying for about 2 weeks now that I'm very ready for fall. And I think last week really solidified it for me because Steph and I had a bit of a snafu last week at a concert.
That's really a euphemism.
Okay, so I'm just gonna throw it all out there. I'm gonna air it out. I'm gonna air out where it was and what happened. Steph and I got tickets to see G Flip at the Sinclair in Harvard Square. I love that venue. I've probably been there 10 to 15 times. I've seen friends perform there. I've seen friends' boyfriends perform there. Like I've gone to brass bands there. I've gone to heavy metal. Like you name it, I have seen it there, and I love that place as a venue because of that. And it's small. You can get as close as you want to get. You can stand far away and still see everything perfectly. Like it's just a great spot. And it was not a great spot last week, let me tell you. Steph and I had this wonderful, I don't even think you know this part, Molly. Steph and I had this like wonderful afternoon planned. I got out of work at like 4. I drove to her house. We went to the new Asian market in Alston called Novo,
I
I
think
think.
it's Novo, Novo.
Okay, Novo. And we were going to eat there, but we walked in and it's not air conditioned. And last week it was like in the 90s every single day. And that particular day, the humidity was out of control. And when I parked my car in Alston, it was 96 degrees. So we walked in and I said, Steph, I don't think I can eat here. Like, I'm too hot. So we each got a bubble tea and we sat down in front of an industrial fan that was the size of my entire body. And it was lovely, right? We just took it all in. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's really bizarre that like all these food stalls are like preparing food in this heat. It just was bizarre. We had our bubble teas. We went to our go to Korean spot. We got takoyaki. It was great. Got back in the car, drove to Harvard Square, went to Love Struck Books, obviously. And obviously, I bought stuff. So we had to double back to where we parked the car to dump the books. By the time we get to the Sinclair, we're both sweating. And we're like, man, it is so freaking hot out. Like, we had already strolled all around Harvard Square. We'd already done our thing in Alston. We were like, G Flip, here we come. We walk into the Sinclair after they scan our tickets. And I take one look at Steph and I say, there is no air conditioning in here. And she's like, what the hell? When I tell you it was damp, the floor, you could see the condensation. You looked up at the ceiling, there was like condensation water coming off the pipes. It reminded me of when I taught middle school in an unair conditioned school. You used to go in to use the bathroom and like where the flush was, it would be soaking wet with condensation. It was just like that. And I looked at Steph and I was like, it was 8 o'clock and I was like, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do this. I mean, it was repulsive in there. I went to go to the bathroom to get some paper towel because I was like actively dripping sweat and like wanted to like not get like under boob lines on my shirt within like the first 10 minutes of being there. Go to use the bathroom. There's 2 bathrooms, a men's and a women's, except the men's is completely broken and says out of order. And so the women's has a sign on it that says like gender neutral, like a handwritten sign that's like gender neutral. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, no air conditioning, and we're down an entire set of bathroom stalls. I don't care about the gender neutral thing. Totally fine with that. I go in to get some paper towel. They have paper towel dispensers that have nothing in them because they have hand dryers. So then I go out to the bar and I'm like, hey, there's no paper towel in the bathrooms. And they're like, oh, we don't do that anymore. We should really take the paper towel dispensers like off the wall. We just have the hand dryers now. So then I look over on the bar where they have like all the drink straws. And I just grabbed like 50 napkins and was like, I'll be taking these. Thank you.
Good for you.
Took all the napkins that they had, pretty much, because they're cocktail sized. And I'm dripping sweat and I'm getting stressed out because I'm like, this entire scenario is fucked. So then I see that they have like a water dispenser that they keep filling with ice. I'm like pounding water. I'm like, I'm going to get such a bad headache. This is going to be terrible. Steph sweating. She's like, she's stressed out. She goes to get a drink. I'm like, I don't think I can get a drink right now. Like, I am sweating bullets. We were already sweating when we got there. So, she's getting a drink. I'm filling my water. And I say to the bartender, I'm like, what's going on with the AC? And he's like, it broke this afternoon. And I was like, oh, I check their social media, I check Twitter, I check all these places, I check my email. They did not tell anyone that this was happening, which I have friends that like have POTS and other autoimmune diseases that like if they showed up to this, they would like be ill immediately and like it was just really unsafe and like not a good call. If you don't want to shut the show down, fine. That's your prerogative, but at least give people the opportunity to not go. It was predominantly women. I'd say like 95% women at this event. I would say, I don't even want to guess how many. Too many people had on like tank tops and jeans, like actual pants, and they were like dying. And I was like, I mean, at least give people the chance to like wear the right outfit. Like, holy shit. So we're dripping sweat. The opener comes out like right at 8 o'clock. By 8:10, he has stopped playing one of his songs and is asking for medical attention because someone near the stage has passed out, like they've fainted from being hot. So, because the doors had only been open for 30 minutes, so I really don't think that this person was like wasted at 8:10. You know what I mean? Like, so somebody's already fainted. I'm like, this is insane. So we make it through the opener. G Flip comes out at 9. I'm dying. I'm like really not feeling well. The air is horrible. Like, in addition to being super hot, it was like being in a sauna and there were so many people. So it was like body heat. Ugh. They had no fans, didn't see a single fan, 0 fans. What the actual hell? So so we get through a few songs. There's some songs that Steph like really wants to see. I get through the 4th song. I'm like, I have to go outside. I need to get some air. Take your time. Do whatever you'd like to do. We don't have to leave. I'm hoping to come back in. She texts me and she's like, they're playing one of my favorite songs. I'm going to go to the bathroom and then I'm coming out. So I saw 4 songs. She saw 5 songs and we left because it was so disgusting. And I cannot believe that the Sinclair didn't notify people, didn't have fans, had half the bathrooms they probably should have had. And like as we were leaving, they were starting to hand out bottled water because G Flip was like, thanks everybody for sticking it out. Like, I really appreciate it with like the no air conditioning thing, like blah, 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 and all this. And I found out after the fact that like apparently in situations like that, they're like required to hand out bottled water, which I didn't realize. But like we had been there an hour and a half and nobody had offered us bottled water. And then all of a sudden they started handing it out. And I was like, what is going on? It was repulsive. I'm pretty mad. I've been thinking about sending them an email or a text or like a tweet or I don't know. I haven't figured out exactly how I want to handle it yet. But boy, was that really, they really blew it. Like they really, like I am not going to be going back there anytime soon because I'm so burned by what happened. And thank God those tickets were only $30 because if I had spent a lot of money on that, people would have felt my wrath that day. I took some time. I'm like, I need to cool off. Like, I need to like recover from it. Not to mention that the next day I was going to the Red Sox game and it was like 95 degrees again. And I was like, and it was a Thursday night, most people work on Fridays. I wouldn't have been able to go to work. I was so dehydrated and ill. It was horrible. So Love G Flip. They put on a really good show from what we saw. I would have loved to have seen the rest of it, but the Sinclair really freaking blew it. At least have fans. Give me a break.
You guys were updating me in our group chat, and I was horrified. And just for the listeners, Caitlin found out that this was happening, and all of us are G Flip fans, and that fandom increased even more so when one of their songs was included in the show Off Campus. If you don't know, the song Bed on Fire is at the beginning of episode 5, and it is one of the highlights of the soundtrack, I would say. And G Flip's streaming numbers exploded, and they were able to book all these additional tour dates in North America as a result of the streaming and the popularity. So I was already really sad and disappointed that I wasn't with you. And then when you started updating me about what was happening, I just kept saying over and over again, I can't believe this. I can't believe this is how this is happening. I can't believe this is how this is going down. I would imagine that there were a lot of people who are not usually small venue concert goers, who are off campus fans, who came to that event specifically to hear that song and probably didn't make it. I would imagine they play that
We
song
saw a
last.
lot of people. Yeah, I checked the set list from the 2 nights before in New York City, and it was the last song. It was number 14. And we saw a lot of people leaving right around when we were leaving. Because, I mean, if you were there in pants, you were going to pass out. Like, it wasn't a question. It was like a when. When is that going to happen? It was the most repulsive concert atmosphere I've ever been in. And I've been to over 100 concerts in my life easily, probably closer to 150 if I had to guess. And like some of them have been music festivals, like tons of them have been outside. This was far and away the worst.
I think the Sinclair is lucky that there weren't more people who passed out and that it didn't make it to any kind of
There
local
might have
media
been. We
out.
left, so I don't know,
But it didn't make it to any kind of local media outlet in the way that sometimes these things do.
mhm.
And they could have had a much bigger disaster on their hands with people passing out, more people being injured. I find it shocking that they didn't send something earlier in the day, as you said, giving people the option not to come if they were going to be uncomfortable in a zero air conditioning atmosphere on a 96-degree day. It seems reckless on their part, and they could have been held accountable for all kinds of injuries. And they just decided to roll, and they're down bathrooms. I mean, it seemed like every place there could be an issue, there was an issue.
Yeah. It seems like the venue was just like completely maxed out by the weather in every possible way. And I mean, I've never seen so many people leave a concert halfway through the headliner. Like it was just, yeah, it was totally
And I can't
wild.
imagine how hot it was on the stage with the lights, and like that probably was intense for the band too.
Yeah, I would say so if I had to guess. Um, but the Red
Wow.
Sox game was great. They won 13 to
Good.
1. We were all actually dying at that game. There was not a breeze to be had. It was I got in my car at 10:15. It was 87 degrees. I
Right.
mean, this summer, I feel like since we went to the beach on July 4th, this summer has just been relentless. It's either been pounding rain or rainforest tropical weather.
No question.
Holy moly. What have you been up to? I sort of know, but tell everybody else.
Oh, I have something new to share with you that I don't think
Ooh,
you know,
exciting.
which is that I went on an adventure slash outing today. I saw on Instagram that there is a mobile book truck, a bookmobile, if you will, here on the South Shore in Situate, Massachusetts. I just saw it like randomly on the algo, and I was like, oh my God, how have I not known about this? So I watched a couple of videos and I realized the date and time that it was happening. And so it's called the Second Love Social Club. And the owner's name is Steph, also another Steph. And she is popping up at this beautiful garden store called The Root in Situate on Tuesday and Wednesday mornings.
The photos looked so good.
It is
The
absolutely
eyes in the
stunning.
plant.
It is absolutely stunning. She has great taste. She transformed this vehicle into something that feels very magical. all of the books are organized by category. So they have romance and young adult, and then there's a kids section. And she has excellent taste in gifts, the tote bags, the stickers, the keychains. Of course, there was ample heated rivalry items, for which I was thrilled. I almost
Say the name
bought
of the pop up again. I'm writing this down so I can go on
Second
Instagram later.
Love Social Club,
And the store was Root.
The Root. Yep. On First Parish Road in Situate. And I almost bought a blue baseball hat that said main character. And I did buy a copy of The Wedding People because that has been on my list for
My brother just asked me if I read it. He's like, "This sounds really good and up your alley." I was like, "Brad, I know. We're gonna get it at some point."
So
Also, I just want to say shout out to the Paper Mouse, one of
yeah.
my favorite stationery stores. It was stationery store day the other day, and I stopped by there. Sorry to interrupt.
Love that. No, all good. So I got The Wedding People and a couple of other things. And then there's also a coffee truck popping up there called the Shore Break. And I had their signature iced latte, which comes with vanilla cold foam, which was quite
So delicious.
And then I popped into the Root because I'd not been in there before. Absolutely stunning store. It reminded me so much of, if you remember, I think they're still around, the store called Terrain, which was part of like the Anthropologie mothership. And it's so beautifully curated. They have, of course, greenery and actual flowers and plants, but they also have all kinds of gifts and stationery and candles and matches and glassware. And then as I was about to leave, I saw through a beautiful French door, they have a massive stone patio in the back where they just encourage people to hang out with your coffee or with the book that you just purchased. And I could not believe.
So what you're
that,
saying is we're gonna go next weekend.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing because I
Yes.
want to do this day again.
Yes. It was so
Maybe ice cream.
incredible.
Maybe add ice cream on there.
It was one of those outings where you get back in the car and you're like high on life because you can't believe how much fun you just
Like
had.
our Providence Day. Like we had our bags and we were like, I had just like bought art and we were like, yes.
100%. I felt like manic almost. I was
Yeah.
so excited
I
about
know
how
that
great
feeling.
it was.
I know. And shopping, it's a drug.
It was so amazing. So shout out to Steph from the Second Love Social Club. You'll be seeing much more of us. And
Can't wait to
we're
meet you.
so excited that you're here on the South Shore. And it was just epic.
When we go back, we should ask her for a photo and we can put it on the PAB account.
Definitely.
Right?
We can absolutely pose in front of her.
I want
Gorgeous,
to ask her so
perfectly
many
appointed
questions
truck.
about how you start a bookmobile. Maybe that's my next career. I don't know. Anything's
Support that.
possible. I don't know where I would drive it, but hey, that's something to figure out another day.
It was great.
Anything else before we get into our
No, I'm really excited
special
for our
episode?
topic today. This is kind of an unusual setup for the convo. Not unusual, special, I guess.
Yeah, we're doing it's a canon event. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we're doing an entire author's situation. I was also thinking, well, let me explain what we're doing today. So today we are ranking all of the book boyfriends in Carley Fortune's repertoire. Out of her
Universe.
5 books that she has written. Part of this came out because Carley Fortune has had books every summer the last 5 summers. We've all swapped them, we've reviewed them, etc. Part of this also came out of the fact that they just started filming This Summer Will Be Different, and earlier this summer, Every Summer After, aka Every Year After, came out as a TV show. So in addition to like getting a new book from her this summer, we also got a new TV show, and then another one is being made as we speak. So we were like, it really feels like 2026 is like Carly's year a little bit. There's like a lot of different things going on for her. So we just thought that we should maybe provide our very biased opinions on these gentlemen that she has created in these delightful vacation destinations that she writes about. But while I was doing this, Molly, I was thinking like, should we rank the like females at some point? Like, would that be kind of fun?
Oh,
Because we said we're doing the book boyfriends, obviously, but like,
we totally
you know what
could.
I mean? Like, which one's our favorite female lead? Because maybe the female lead that we like the best deserves our number one book boyfriend and doesn't get that person. You know what I mean?
I'm into that.
So I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe we wait until Carly Fortune 6 comes out and then we like, dig into it. Because I think we all know probably who, well, I know off the top of my head who probably would be down in the dumps because she did him dirty to begin with, but I digress. Okay, so are we thinking that we should do some descriptions of each of the books and the gents before
Sure, let's
we
do that.
rank? Okay. So her first book, we can go back and forth if you want.
Sure.
Her first book is Every Summer After, which became the TV show Every Year After, and the boyfriend in this one is Dr. Sam Florrick, who we see as a teenager, and we get to see him again as an adult when he's become a doctor. He is just like he's literally the boy next door, like in every possible way. He's thoughtful, he's encouraging, he is a good brother, he's a good son, he's reliable, like he's all the things. Like he's all of those things, which I know makes him sound so dreamy, but like he lacks a little bit of edge in my opinion. Um I do, and like he's very forgiving, like almost to a fault, which we can get into later when we do our rankings. But that's Sam Florrick from Every Summer After. So he's one of the boyfriends that we'll be ranking. Would you like to take the next one?
Okay, book number 2, Meet Me at the Lake. So I almost hesitate to call him a boyfriend. The man in this story, Will Baxter.
Yep.
So Will and Fern had a tryst of great magnetism once upon a time, and they vowed to meet up 1 year later. Fern shows up, Will doesn't. She's devastated. She finds herself in her early 30s in a situation in which she may be taking over a business that she never thought that she would. And lo and behold, who is assigned to help her move through this business decision, but the Will who never showed up on their 1 year meetup date. So she is both shocked in good and bad ways to see him again and unsure how to move forward because he is, representing interests that may be hers or may not be hers, and is struggling to figure out how much can she trust him.
And like in the past when they meet, he's like super artsy and like I would say like eccentric a little bit and like adventurous, and takes her on this like wild day around, I think, Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're supposed to meet up the year later. They don't really know each other. They don't have any way to contact each other. So that's why all that time goes by. And then when we re-see him, like he's kind of, I don't want to say sold out a little bit, but he's like, he's working like at a architecture firm basically. Yep. And he's kind of, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I'll save my opinions for later. Okay, I don't know what the next book in correct order is.
It's This Summer Will Be Different.
Okay, This Summer Will Be Different was her third book. Okay. So Felix Clark, aka Wolf, he is bookish. He is clever and funny. He has good friends. He is handy. He's very family oriented. He can shuck oysters like nobody's business. He's just like charming, and this one has like a forbidden romance thing going on because the female lead, whose name is escaping me right now, what is her name?
Oh gosh.
I can't think of it.
For you.
The female lead in The Summer I Will Be Different is best friends with Wolf's sister. And this is a situation where they go on vacation to Prince Edward Island every summer, and every summer she's like, I shouldn't hook up with Wolf, but I think I might anyway.
Lucy.
Lucy. So this one's the one that's being made into a TV show right now. And it's it's got like that forbidden thing going on. It's got the like honestly a little like Jenny Han flavor to it because it's
Hmm.
like every summer I'm gonna see him and like it's my best friend's brother, so I shouldn't, but like I might. So that's Felix. He's like irresistible in like a very earnest way. Like there's nothing like super flashy about him. He just is like an appealing person.
Yeah. Then we have One Golden Summer, which is actually the continuation of the story from Every Summer After. And Sam's older brother, Charlie Florek, is the boyfriend in this story. And he finds himself in the presence of a woman, Alice, who is falling apart. She just needs some respite from her life. She is very wayward. She has lost confidence. She is just really struggling. And he is there to lift her up, to try to help her find joy again, to sort of shake her out of the rut. And he is, I think, in the original book, sort of an antagonist in a way that what if you're rooting for Sam and Percy, you find annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this book, he stepped into the spotlight in a way that I really enjoyed. And I felt like he got his due in terms of his redeeming qualities, his ability to not be as selfish as he seemed in Every Summer After. And I'll spare more commentary than that because I don't want to give away where he falls in my ranking. But
Mm-hmm.
the TV adaptation will continue into a season 2 in which he will be the central character. We know that. So we have that to look forward to in the future, and it will hopefully be closer to the book than Every Summer After was.
I'm not sure I'm gonna watch it because I didn't even finish Every Year After. I didn't have it in me. Okay, her fifth book that came out this year is called Our Summer Storm. Yes, it's a nice purple. And George St. James is the book boyfriend, and he is how do I describe him? He is
I think the word you're
very
looking for is
adventurous.
uptight.
Yes, but he's also but that's in his personal life. In his professional life, he's very adventurous. He goes and covers like wildfires and like all these other like very dangerous like world catastrophes for his real job, and he travels around a lot, and he's kind of a hard person to pin down. He swoops in when his childhood girl best friend is left at the altar and takes her on the honeymoon that she was supposed to go on. And um personally found him wussy because it's very clear from the start that he's been in love with her for like his entire life and has never done anything about it really. And so um there's this like push and pull of like you're rooting for them, but also you're like, why hasn't this? She almost married somebody else. Like, why didn't this happen? Like, it should have happened already. Um, and you learn some things about like why he may or may not think he deserves that, and his self worth, and then how she feels about him. And I don't want to like give everything away, but he, I would say, probably has the least amount of confidence out of all of
Hmm.
the book boyfriends.
I think that's true.
Um, and I'm just going to dive into it and say that's why he's my number 5
He's also
because
my number 5.
yeah, he's just not he's like surface level very like perfect. Like he's like knows all of her favorite things and is like making this trip even better than if she had gone with her fiance slash husband. And like he knows her so well, and he's like a romantic at heart in a lot of ways, but he also just like doesn't put himself out there, doesn't know how to like make a move. Like he's like so reluctant and like I don't want to say introverted, but in some ways is. And that is just not my type of guy. Like, I don't want to have to pull it out of you. Like, I am a very upfront, blunt person. Like, if I'm into you, I tell you right away. And sometimes that scares people off. And sometimes they're like, finally, refreshing. Somebody's like being honest. Um, and I would literally pull my eyelashes out if I tried to date this guy. Like, he just would drive me nuts because they spend decades just like skirting around it and like not getting it done. So George is my number 5.
So for me, the reason he's in the bottom position is because there was just no sizzle at all.
Mm,
And even though he planned all these special activities designed to help her get out of her head and try to move forward, and clearly they came from an intense knowledge of what she needs and how she tends to cope with things and some of the things she always dreamed of doing, like the care and intention he put behind all of those activities were so noted. But it always felt to me just very platonic. And when I pick up a romance book, I want there to be heat. And I don't care if that's like yearning, but this felt like there was no chemistry between them romantically at all. And I just couldn't get there. And I've read all of her books. And so I know that she is more than capable of that kind of storytelling. And I just felt bummed that this never really got to an actually romantic place.
I know. It was my least favorite by her, I think.
It's tied for my least favorite.
Okay. Fair. That's
Which
totally
brings me
fair.
to who's in my number 4 position.
Yeah, who's your 4?
That would be Will Baxter from Meet Me at the Lake.
That's also mine.
Oh my God, are we going to be matching the whole way? I wonder.
We might. Well, I'm
I don't
not
know.
positive.
You're right. I have a feeling our top
I
two
don't
are
think
gonna
our
be
number
different.
ones are going to be the same, but I think that we might match quite a bit.
Here's the thing about Will Baxter. You come into it sort of with a chip on your shoulder about him because you know that he let her down in this very major way. And then he reappears when she's at a low in her adult life and trying to figure out the way forward. And though he is supportive and tries to kind of make things right, it just, again, never really gets there. And also, I distinctly remember when we read this book that Carly Fortune said in the acknowledgments that writing a second book is way harder than writing the first book, especially because the first one really came to her fully formed and she was able to just kind of like let it fly out of her fingertips. And this one was harder and there were more revisions and more changes. And no disrespect, writing a book is impossibly hard. I've never done it, but I think you could feel it in Meet Me at the Lake that it wasn't her best work and it wasn't necessarily what she was most proud to put out there, but she had a deadline to meet and eager readers. And so out it went. And I think we've seen across all of the 5 books, she's capable of incredible storytelling. Will Baxter was just not a character that I could put my full weight behind.
It also, there was this lingering sense of like it's temporary that he's at her resort that she needs
Yeah.
renovated. And it kind of felt like it was just like hanging over the whole plot of the book and like that was going to be the crutch. And it just didn't feel, um, I don't know. It just felt like there wasn't enough buildup for that, for them to like have something to like fight over or fight for, I guess.
Yeah.
And also he's not really my type. Like if he had been a musician, that's different. But like this artsy turned like corporate architect crap, no. That's a no.
Yeah.
I'm out on Will Baxter. He didn't do it for me. I don't want to say I wasn't rooting for them when I was reading it. I was rooting for her.
Yeah.
But that didn't necessarily, like, I feel like, you know what would have been really good in this book? Love triangle. I feel like if there had been some other guy that, like, sort of, like, spurred everybody on so that because she deserved to be fought for. I thought she was a
Yeah.
good character. And I don't think she should have ended up with a
Mm,
Will Baxter personally. And I just didn't find it super believable that like their resort life on the lake was going to work for this guy that had been corporate, like it just, there was just a lot there that I was like, I don't know. Okay. My number 3 really like shocked me a little bit. Like I didn't see this coming until I sat down to take my notes, but my number 3 is Charlie Florrick.
okay.
Um and I thought he was going to be 4 or 5 because he really does Sam dirty in book 1.
Yeah.
Um and he just and I know that he's like in book 1 he's really like success driven and he's very like I want to make a lot of money and like I don't really care about our hometown that much, and he seems very put out that he has to like come home after his mom is sick and like take care of the family restaurant, and like all of that was really like unbecoming to me. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wow, you don't want any of this responsibility. You don't really want to like deal with any of this. You've kind of just let it all fall on Sam.
Yeah.
And then there's the big reveal as to how he like betrayed Sam when they were younger. And so I just didn't think that he was going to rank in my top 3. I just didn't see that happening. But here's the thing, he's my type. Like he's not 100% my type, but like he is somebody I would be interested in, and not because of the success, but like he's good looking. I think he shows the most growth out of any of the book boyfriends. There isn't really a lot of growth with the other ones at all, actually. And obviously, part of it is because he's in 2 books. But even so, like with Our Summer Storm, there's a lot of before and after. And like, so you could have seen a lot of growth, and you don't see much growth there at all. But Charlie is super fun and like down for anything. And he really like helps Fern out. Like he's like, oh, like you've got like a bucket list, or like your grandmother's challenging you to like get out of the house and stop playing cards with her this summer. Like bizarre, like let's do it. And so he's just kind of like game. And also like the fact that he is back in his hometown and he's like actually appreciating the beauty of it, and like he's jealous of his brother and what he has going, and he's like, I'd like to settle down, like I think I'm actually finally ready for that, and I think I actually deserve it now, and I know I didn't before. Just that like a man being in touch with his feelings
Yeah.
and being good looking and showing like emotional growth, and like I don't you just don't see that a lot in real life.
Right.
And so that's why he's my number 3. He was close to 2, but he was 3.
Okay. So my number 3 is Felix from this summer will be different.
Mm.
I really liked this book, and I felt like I love the secretive premise. It's like not quite fake dating, but it
Sneaking
is.
around it's kind of fun
The sneaky part
as
was
long as no one's married.
right. The sneaky
Side note, I didn't want people to get the wrong idea about me.
the sneaky part reeled me in immediately, and the sort of like tiptoeing around each other. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? It feels like it's going to happen. And when they do finally cross that line physically, it is hot. Like I really remember that
Yeah,
scene
I
in the
remember
book.
what his room is like and what that house is like because they
Correct.
like are prancing through it, and
Correct. Which I'm really looking forward to seeing in the adaptation.
oh,
I
it's
hope
going to
it
be good. It's going to be
stays
good.
truthful. So I put him in the number 3 position because I think he has more charisma than the other men that we've discussed in 4 and 5 position. And also, there is something comforting about that history, right? You've known someone for a long time, you're part of the same shared rituals. I really like that. I have a friend group that's like that who goes to Maine together every single summer, and there's just like a lot of history. That's the right word there. And when you share something like that, I think it makes your connection all the stronger because you've kind of grown up together. And I loved that element between them. And also, I don't know if it's because I don't eat oysters, but I feel like there were so many people who, after they read that book, were like, oh my God, I want to go to Prince Edward Island. I want to eat all the oysters.
I still want to go to Prince Edward Island.
Right. So I just didn't have that reaction. And I think people who did were very turned on by that part of his like skill set.
Yeah.
And it just didn't speak to me in the same way.
Yeah. Yep. I get that makes sense. I also think like what you were saying about the history part, that's where I keep going back to Our Summer Storm and bashing it, and I feel bad. But like in some ways that was kind of like a second chance romance trope because
Mhm.
like they should have when they were younger, but they didn't, and
Right.
really it wasn't a second chance, but like they had a history, best friends to lovers, whatever you want to call it. And I love that history piece
Yeah.
because like I'm never going to have that. And so I think there's like a jealousy aspect to it where I'm like, God, I'd love if someone knew my coffee order from when I was 15 years
Yeah.
old or like remembers who my favorite Red Sox player was when we were in high school. And like I just will never have that with somebody. Like I have it with friends. That's not the same. And it's like when it's like when you're younger and you're like, "Oh my god, that boy knows my name." Like like and it's like that like, "Oh my." So like it's all of that. It's all of that,
Yeah.
right? And I do love that trope for that reason,
Yep.
and I did feel like This Summer Will Be Different had a lot of that because she goes back each of the summers.
Sure.
Delightful. Just delightful. Okay, so have we both done 3?
Yep. Who's your number two? Oh
Dr.
no.
Sam Florek.
Okay.
Dr. Sam Florek is my number 2. If your fatal flaw is you're too forgiving, that's not a terrible fatal flaw to have. I do think he's like super responsible and he's adorable and like he was a really good boyfriend and he doesn't shy away from responsibility. He really cared about his mom and like didn't care who knew it at any age, which I find very endearing. In some ways, I like almost made him my number 3 because I was like, he is a little boring. He can be a little boring, honestly. Like he's a little vanilla for me. However, in some ways, I'm like, as I get older, I'm like, I don't like 10 years ago, Charlie would have been my number 2. 41-year-old Caitlin is like, let's get some stability. Let's get some Mr. Reliable. He's got a medical degree. That's pretty nice. Like there's a lot of things there that are like super appealing to me now that I'm this age.
Mm-hmm.
But like 31-year-old Caitlin would have been all over Charlie Florek as a number 2 because Sam just like he doesn't have an edge to him. There's nothing like what's that line in Almost Famous like where they tell William, they're like, man, there's just like nothing controversial about you. Like, there's nothing controversial about Sam Florek, like at all. Like, I really don't think he's ever pissed anybody off in his entire life. And that could get a little stale, maybe. But all of his other things are like so A plus that I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make him my number 2.
Okay. I think what
Who's
you're about
yours?
to say is going to shock you. My number two is Charlie Florek. And the reason is this: I loved One Golden Summer.
Mm-hmm.
I really felt like the way that he helped Alice find herself again, believe in
They're a
herself again.
super fun couple in that book.
It
Or not
is,
even couple, friends, whatever you want to call it.
yes, like the way that he, as you said earlier, is like along for the ride as she tries to do this bucket list of things, and he's totally game for whatever is on the list for the day. And there's a particular scene, I'm not going to ruin it, but in which something happens in a treehouse where I remember I was reading it and I like put the book down in my lap and I was like, come on. Like it just is one of those things you desperately want to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that he's my number two and not my number one is because there are some transgressions on his rap sheet between book one and book two that I just could not overlook.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you, when you're thinking about the book boyfriend and you're thinking about like the dream of it all, he's got a lot of flaws. And I agree with you that he grows and matures over time. But some of the things that we know from the younger years are just too strong of demerits to put him in the number one position.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when I think about the swoon factor, that alone, he would be my number one. But I think he's made too many transgressions along the way, and that's why I put him number two. Wait, so your number one is Felix?
Mm-hmm.
Say more about that.
Okay. So, very reliable, tall, dark, and handsome,
Yep.
good with his hands. And I mean it as a euphemism as well. Um, like, we're shucking oysters, we're repairing things in our family home, like, good with the ladies, like, all those things. A little reserved.
Yep.
And honestly, that is so hot to me because it means that like if you have to fight for it a little bit to like get to know somebody and then they actually trust you and let you in, like that is so hot to me. And he's he reads all the time. He's constantly got books, which is like I mean, it's just bury me. And um he's really good to her in
Yeah.
a way that I don't like. The other book boyfriends are like it's clear that they care about these women and some of them are like wooing them harder than others, but like with Felix it's like not only does he tell her but he shows her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he's like very romantic but not in like a flashy like Charlie Flork kind of way. It's again it's like more reserved, maybe behind closed doors, maybe writing her a poem or something, you know what I mean? Like it's a little more subdued. And the fact that like he's the brother is like also really hot to me because it like everybody had a crush on a friend's brother at some point or like
Totally.
a friend's neighbor, you know, some like older boy that like you know was never going to give you the time of day, and then like in this book like it actually happens and she like actually gets his attention. And I love that they're both care deeply about the sister and they're like concerned about how what that's going to look like and what that will mess up. And that they take their time over all of these summers to like he really like pines for her, he waits for her, all those things. Magical chef's kiss. It's clear that they really are like into each other. And he's not afraid of commitment. He is engaged before at one point, and I just yeah, surface level like it checks all the boxes for me. And then like as you get to know him throughout the book, it's like, oh yeah, he like this is why can't I meet this guy at a restaurant at the Cape like tomorrow? You know what I mean? Like
Totally. I sure do. As I'm ever manifesting the me cute. So when I went back to look at all the reviews I had written of all five of these books, I went into it thinking my ranking was going to be a little bit different than it actually wound up being. I put Sam Florek in the number one position, which surprised me, like surprised my
it's
own self.
surprising me right now.
Okay, so I'll tell you why. I'm in love with his unconditional adoration for Percy. And the fact that from the very first time they met as kids all the way until their adulthood, he has always felt a pull to her, a draw to her. He couldn't move on from their relationship, try as he might. And as you were saying before about like, there's something about the vanilla safety of it all that's very attractive. I think he is so reliable. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's so respectful. I think he's so like has reverence for all of their history together. And I think even though of course Charlie has many reasons why he could be at the top of my list, when I really ask myself like who would you want to see yourself with? Who would actually take care of you and who would treasure you and who would tell you all the time all the wonderful things about you and support you and push you forward and help you reach your goals? I feel like Sam Florek is that person. He might not have like the throwdown that some of these other guys have, but I think he has the consistency and the kindness that probably lasts a lifetime. And bonus points for the medical doctor
Mm-hmm.
and just for really caring about his mom, caring about their hometown, caring about the legacy of their family. Like, I think he's a very stand up guy. And even though he's not fire flames in the way that Charlie is, there's like danger associated with some of the Charlie stuff. And I think Sam feels, I don't know, just like the warm hug that you want at the end of a hard day.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a surprise to my own self, he is in the number one position.
Okay. See, and with Wolf, he's like a warm, sexy hug to me. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
get
Like
it.
Felix Clark, man. And he's even got a good name.
Oh yeah, I
Sometimes
I love the name Felix.
I think it's, yeah, I just. Okay, so we're both like really not down with George. We think he
Yeah.
stinks. And we really do like the Flork brothers.
Yep.
And we feel a little differently about Felix, but we still.
I mean, our top three is
Yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm being like gun to my head, I really don't think that I would give Will Baxter or George St. James a second date.
No,
I don't think either of them will get a second date.
no,
I think
no.
if anybody in the top 3 said, "Let's buy a home together," probably would say yes to any of those top 3. I mean, I do have reservations about Charlie, but like I said, most growth out of any of them.
Totally,
So,
absolutely.
and I do think if he's with the right girl for the right reasons, that all the other stuff will just iron itself out, to
Yeah.
be honest. Whereas, like, again, going back to Felix, my number one, and I think this is true about Sam as well. I think they both can bring out the best in anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they have that ability, and that's why they're so likable.
Yeah.
So if Carly ever listens to this, we want more Felix, more Flork brother energy,
Yeah.
less wussy George.
Yeah.
If you could manage that. We like the sizzle. We like the familiarity that some of
Yeah.
these people have with each other. George stinks. He's out. Never again. That's it.
Agreed. Agreed.
That was fun.
I know. I love a ranking.
Mm-hmm.
I love a list.
I was taking my little notes, and I was like, and like literally when I was like refreshing my memory about Wolf, I was like, got a little like flustered. I was like, I forgot all these things that I like loved about him. And it made me really excited about the show.
Yes,
Like
me too.
really excited.
Me
I
too.
really feel like, oh God, if they screw this one up, they're not
I'm
going
really
to.
hoping
I
not.
feel confident. I feel confident. I like the people in the cast. I think it could be good. And they're filming
Yeah.
it right now, so that probably means next summer, I think.
I hope
would
so.
guess. Yay. All right,
I
what are
hope
you
so.
reading right now?
So I just finished. Hold on, I'm going to grab my little book here to hold it up for those that are watching us. I just finished Sandwich by Catherine Newman. This book was
That and The Wedding People have been on my list for like
yes.
a long time.
I feel like they were popular in the same summer.
Mm,
And I actually found this when you and I were out and about on Indie Bookstore Day in Providence. This was on a used bookshelf. I think I got it for $9.
amazing.
This is my first Catherine Newman book. I love her writing. I think in my Goodreads review, I wrote, "This writing punched me in the gut." She
I'm
speaks.
looking her up because her name sounds so familiar, and I'm wondering if I read anything by her.
This book is about a family's vacation to the Cape, and they do this every year in the same rental house. And it flashes forward and back to previous summers and then present day. And in like the first 25 pages, she's describing coming back to the house. And there's one specific sentence where she talks about opening the kitchen cabinets. And she said they exhaled Old Bay's seasoning. And I thought, if that isn't the most brilliant use of that verb, I
I
don't know
love
what
that.
is.
I love it.
She also, so she writes beautifully about the summer rituals, which if you're a longtime Plans Are Booked listener, you know I love that. It's many of the books I've talked about over the last almost 3 years have to do with summer rituals and traditions. But the other
Oh,
part
she
of
lived in
this,
Western Mass.
yeah, the other part of this that I loved is she speaks so honestly about being a daughter, being a mother, being a mother-in-law. She speaks about infertility as she was trying to grow her family. She speaks about menopause as she's getting older. It's just so brutally honest in ways where if I had had a yellow highlighter in my hand while reading this, 50% of the book would have been yellow. She just did an amazing job bringing you into her headspace. And I tagged one page that I wanted to read you out loud because I was like, Caitlin is going to die over this. So she and her
I
daughter
can't
are
wait to meet up
talking.
with you at the bookmobile so that you can give me this.
Yes. So she's talking to her daughter, and our daughter is quizzing her about Harry Potter. So it says, on the tram, Willa grills me about the 4 Hogwarts houses in the Harry Potter books. Don't help her, she says to everyone. Okay, go. All the names of everything have oozed out and away from the drainage holes menopause has punched into my memory storage. Dumbledore, I say, and Willa laughs. Good mom, Dumbledore. No, I say, not Dumbledore. Jesus, I read these books to you like 11 zillion times. Dumbledore? Still not Dumbledore, Willa says. Whiffenpoofs, I say. Yep, she says, laughing. Snivelin? Weasleyton? Fuck. You got them all, she says. She's laughing so hard she's crying. Good job.
I love it. I love it.
And when I told people I was reading this and I had posted a picture of it on Instagram, several people messaged me immediately and said, if you love that, you have to read the next one, which is called Wreck.
Wreck. I just saw that when I pulled her up. I have not read anything by her.
So I'm really looking forward to it. What about you?
Okay, so we read and reviewed on the pod a book by Karen Slaughter called We Are All Guilty Here, which I have brought up time and again because I absolutely loved it. And I went back and read a bunch of her other books because she's written, I think, over 30 books. A lot of them are in the Will Trent series. And she came out with a second book that has the same lead detective character, Emmy, and it came out yesterday. So I walked to the bookstore from work and got it because I was like, I have to get this. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. It's called The Secrets We Hide. And it's the parenthetical is North Falls #2 because North Falls is where it takes place, which is in Georgia. I don't think it's a real place, but it's supposed to be Georgia. And the book takes place 6 weeks after the events of the first book. And Emmy and her son Cole are on the same police force. She is the interim chief because her dad has just passed away, who was the chief. And she is awaiting an election to become the permanent one. But in the meantime, in the first 5 pages of the book, she is at her mother's funeral. Her mother has dementia, and it's like well established in the first book. And her mom has just passed away, which means that her dad, the police chief, died 6 weeks ago, and now her mom is already dead. And so she has had a lot of grief in a very short amount of time. As this occurs, a woman and her daughter are shot in their home. And she has to leave the funeral. Everybody is leaving the funeral and going to her cousin's house for like the food afterwards. And she and her son have to book it out of there because this other thing has occurred. And I don't want to give too much away, but I think the interesting things to note, which you find out right away, are the daughter is in critical condition, the mom dies, and the mom is a retired police officer. So immediately you're like, who'd she piss off? Like, who wanted revenge? Why did this happen? But as they investigate the murder and the shooting and go through her house and kind of go through who she had interactions with and so forth, it becomes very clear that she and her daughter had very complicated lives and were connected to a lot of people in the town, some of whom have a lot of pull and a lot of weight that they can shift around in different ways. And she's just really good at writing small towns. She's really good at writing strong female characters. She's really good at making you care about people like from page 1.
I can't wait to read this.
Because with this book, the woman and the daughter who are shot, it's within the first 5 pages.
Yeah.
And then as you backtrack and they start piecing the case together, you are like very invested in them and this being solved. And I'm like, how is Karen Slaughter doing this? Like, it's not like we knew these women before they got gunned down. Like, I don't, it's kind of wild how she's able to do this. So I bought it yesterday. I'm already 140 pages in because I can't stop. Like, I'm reading full throttle at the same time. And I kind of like, the other thing is like, if I'm reading at work, full throttle is like a little too on the note. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's not a super professional looking book to be reading at work because it's like the guy and the girl are facing each other. You can
Yeah.
tell it's a romance novel.
Yeah.
And then it says like full throttle and it's like a bright yellow book. And I'm like, I don't want to explain myself. I just can't. So it was easy to kind of like sidestep into the Karen Slaughter, and there's plenty of people at work that are into mysteries and all of that, and I can have that conversation with them and not turn beet red. So here we are.
I love that. Well, listeners, if you want to follow along with all of the books that we talked about and mentioned today, please join us on Instagram. We are at Plans Are Booked. That's where we share all of the titles we mention every episode. If you enjoyed what you heard today, we would love if you would consider leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can also watch us on YouTube if you prefer that. And if you have any feedback about this episode or any books you'd like us to cover, please feel free to shoot us a note to plansarebbooked@gmail.com.
And until next time, our plans are booked.